Welcome to Book Nook, the coziest place for book lovers to chat about the stories that shape us. I'm Marie.
And I'm Barbara, and each episode we dive into the books we love, the ones that challenge us, and everything in between. Ready to talk books? It's time to turn the page.
Hello, Mary.
Hey, Barbara.
How are you?
I'm really good, though we just entered the actual fall season in Montreal after ups and downs with the temperature. Now it's just raining, so very cozy for reading.
Yeah, same in the UK. It's now pitch dark at 4 in the afternoon. It's raining. So yeah, it's the perfect season to grab a book and
A spooky,
pack up.
yeah, and I was gonna say also a spooky season, reading books that are in the theme of Halloween
Yeah,
and
because we're
everything.
recording on Halloween Day. It's Halloween
Yes.
today. Do you have a costume, Mary?
Okay, I actually don't, but last week we had a party at the office. And the thing is, they decided to have a theme. Because, at
Oh,
first, I was inspired by the concert I went to in September. And I was like, okay, I'm going to dress up as a punk, because I saw Green Day perform and I was like, yes, I'm going to be dressed as Billie Joe Armstrong from
yeah,
Green Day, like with the red tie and like the black shirt and everything and like a lot of makeup, whatever. And then they decided to put a theme that was Rise of the Villains. And so I had to find a villain. And also, just an introduction, I don't really like buying a whole costume. I like having, either like using items that I already have at home or like make stuff myself. And so I don't know if I told you this before we recorded, but I decided to go as Elon Musk.
Wow, you're a legend.
Yeah, it's like I was like, okay, I actually asked ChatGPT because I absolutely had no idea of like which villain do I want to dress up as, because some really fun villains, like it's really hard to dress up as. For example, Hades from Hercules, the Disney cartoon. I was like, he's so cool. I love him as a villain, but dressing up as him, like no, like that.
That's how do you dress as Elon Musk? Like, what
Okay.
did you do?
Okay, that's a very good question. Also, just on a note, it's just like I was discussing this with my partner and I was like it just came to me. I was like, the most like the evilest of evil. He's like, at first I was like thinking about Donald Trump and then for some reason I was like, too hard to dress up as Donald Trump. Like I don't have the hair, I don't like whatever. So that's why I switched to Elon Musk. But it's true that it's hard to dress up as him because he has a very like simple style, like black shirts, black pants. But also I wanted to find this cap that I could write dark MAGA on because he keeps saying that he's dark MAGA. And so that's what I
In fact, it's in Star Wars, like the Vardø. Oh
so
my
that's what I
god,
did.
it's insane.
So I bought like just a cap. Thankfully, it had the American flag on it, so it was like perfect for like the whole like, and it was written like freedom at the back. So I was like, this is so like I found it at like a thrift store. I was like, this is perfect. And then I actually painted a shirt with the Tesla logo because like I'm not gonna buy like an actual like Tesla thing. Like I'm not gonna give money to him. So yeah, that was actually it did not like my coworkers were not impressed at all. But it was fun. Like I was happy with my idea. I was like, you know what? Easy costume. Also, I like the idea of like dressing up as an actual evil person in real life and not like
It's great, and it's cheap too. So you don't
and
have to spend a huge amount of money for a costume you're gonna wear like once in your life.
What are you gonna dress up as?
A
If you are.
pumpkin. I'm not original. It's so
Oh,
basic.
it's so cute. Are you gonna have the whole round like?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Wait, did you buy it? Like, did you buy this whole big thing that you're gonna put on? Like,
Yeah. But then
ooh.
I can resell the costume next year.
Yes,
It's
that's true.
that's what I do every year. Like I buy a costume, but I sell the costume the year after.
That's a good idea. That's
Mm.
a good thing. I mean, especially because if you keep all the costumes that you have in your life, then there's no room for it in your house. No, but that's fun. It's really cool. I like dressing up. So, and also I like the fact that in because I feel like in France we have a very narrow definition for Halloween in terms of costumes because it's mostly like actual spooky stuff.
Mm.
Whereas in like North America or even maybe the UK, like it's more like dress up as whatever you want. So it's just you can be more creative
Mm.
than dressing up as a vampire or a witch or a wizard. You know, it's more fun, I think. But talking about this, this month okay, how we picked this book. I think I'm the one who asked if we could cover this book, so I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Barbara. So we decided to have a book on witches. I think that's where it came from. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
so Halloween, let's have a book that has something to do with witches.
Yeah. We thought about spooky vibes, but now I realize the book is not spooky at all.
It's not spooky. There is actually there's no actual magic. And so it was in my TBR for a long time. I bought the book way back when I was in France, and I had it. I never read it, and I was like, it was top of my list for some reason. I don't know how I heard of it, but I was like, oh, I'm sure I'm gonna, and we will see if I did or not. But I heard great reviews. I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a beautiful book, and also I thought that it was gonna be magical, like, or there were gonna be some magical elements. I don't know about
No.
you, but before reading it, I didn't think it was fantasy, but I thought it might be like magical realism type of book, you
Yeah,
know?
I was expecting the same, and I think that's why you'll discover my review at the end. But I had something in mind by reading the summary, and I
Mhm.
realized after maybe 50 pages, it was not at all
We're not
what I
getting,
envisioned. So I think that's why I was a bit taken aback
yeah.
by the novel.
But I think it's interesting to know like who the author is. So she's her name is Kiran Millwood Hargrave, and so she's from the UK. And actually, she started out as a poet. So we'll come back to that. But I think that's also why the book is so like lyrical and
Yeah,
the phrasing, like it's all beautiful the way she's
yeah, it's too
writing
lyrical
this
for me,
novel.
especially for novel.
Yeah. And so she started out as a poet, and also I think the first books that she wrote were for children. And so this is actually her
Oh.
first novel for adults. And yeah, that's interesting to know that, because then you understand why and how she writes, and why and how we didn't really
Yeah.
connect with that book as much as we thought we would. And so it came out in 2020, so it's pretty recent. Also, she's a young author. She was born in 1990, so
Oh, really?
close to us in
Yeah.
age. Anyway, so I think the book did have good reviews in general. Even like
Yeah.
I think I saw on Goodreads the average is pretty good for
I
the
think more
amount
than
of reviews.
4.5 or something like that.
Yeah, it's more than 4, which
Mm.
is really hard to achieve, even for great books. Having 4 when you get like thousands of reviews. But I think it was praised obviously for the lyrical
Mm.
writing, and I think most of the bad reviews were on the, let's say, anachronistic. I don't know if that's a word in English, but like the fact that she's writing a story that happens in the 17th century,
Yeah.
but with obviously a very modern
Mm.
kind of modern characters and view
Yeah.
on it.
We still haven't mentioned the title of the book. We're talking about the Mercies.
I feel like each episode we're like forgetting something, like
Yeah.
saying something on like the author or
Important.
the book. We are reading the Mercies. That is true.
Yeah, so that's the book of the month, and maybe to give you like a brief overview of like the story and the main characters for you to understand what the Mercies is about. So as you just said, Mary, we're in the 17th century, early 17th century in Norway. And what's interesting is that this novel is inspired by the Vardø storm and witch trials uh, that happened in 1617. So it comes from like real events being reinterpreted for sure.
Yeah.
And basically, after a storm wipes out the island's men, the women are alone. So I think she mentioned in the book 40 men died.
40 men,
So
yeah.
in the village in Vardø just stay the women and their children. And the main character is Maren. So she lost everyone in the storm. So a dad, a brother, a fiancé.
Fiancé. Yeah.
And we follow this woman for 2 years. And then the novel, like all the main elements, like come together when a Scottish man arrives to Vardø, because at this time they thought, well, the king of Norway thought the storm was caused by witchcraft. And this village of women and children, they were all suspected of witchcraft. And this man, Absalom Cornet, the Scottish man, was a witch hunter, a very successful witch hunter in Scotland. So he was asked to come to Vardø, and he comes with his wife, Ursa. I don't know. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing her name right now, but Ursa, like a bear. So yeah, very back to Vardø, and his goal is to root out witchcraft from the village, and we follow Maren, we follow Ursa, their relationship, of course, Absalom, and all these other characters, and that's something I didn't really like because I got confused, but basically we follow so many different people in this novel. So we have some women coming from a neighbor village, where I think the correct word is Sami or Sani.
Sami, yeah, Sami.
Yeah, Sami, thank you. So the Sami people are like indigenous people in Norway. They have different traditions, so that was a good cause to accuse them of witchcraft.
Yeah.
We follow other women in the village too, not only Maren. We follow like so many different people. So basically, we're in Norway in the 17th century following women in a village. They're accused of witchcraft, and they have to fight for their survival. And also, like the village and the country is a big part of the story, because can you imagine living in Norway, like in the north of Norway, in the Arctic, in the 17th century? You have to fish, you're cold like 10 months out of 12. It's awful. So yeah, that's the same set.
I think you did a good job, because even though we didn't go in depth into like all the events that happen in the book, I feel like also not a lot happens, because, like literally, like, I think the whole, like, the book takes place over the course of like 3 years, maybe total.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's like goes by really fast, because the storm happens. Then actually, one thing I wanted to say is, I think the book is separate, like it's there are 3 different parts in the book.
Yeah.
The first one is called The Storm. Second one is The Arrival, and the third one is The Hunt. Actually, I don't even know in English what it was, because I read the book in French, so I'm just translating. So hopefully that's how it was written in English. But anyway, and so 3 different phases, and that's basically what you explained. But yeah, not much happens, though we do see the daily life of these women and how hard it is to like get food and then survive in winter. And especially surviving in winter means over the summer you have to have like to go fishing and like have enough food to survive during winter, and like dry like the meat, dry the fish, and have what do you call them, cans, or like they're not
Yeah.
cans at that time, but things in like boxes that you can have for later. That's what I meant. And so yeah, it looks so rough.
Yeah.
And actually we even like we understand even better the harshness of their situation when Ursa and Absalom, they move to the island.
Yeah.
Because then there's this contrast between Ursa. She comes from a city called Bergen, and she's more I was gonna say civilized, but that's not the right word. That's a very negative word. No, what I meant is like more used to the city life, and so she has finer clothes. Like her dress is like, I think it's like yellow. It's like a color that is very bright compared to the very simple attire of the women from the village. And so that was interesting. I like that. I don't know about you, but I think I like this understanding how they lived.
They live a very difficult life, very really poor. They have to fight every day for survival.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's even worse when you live in such a cold environment. So,
Yeah, and also what you said about the storm and the fact that the women are like they no longer have men in the village to go fishing. So basically, I think if I'm not wrong, it's when they went fishing that the storm happened, and that's how they died. And so like after a few days, all the bodies came back to the land, and so that was the beginning of the book. Really sad beginning of the book.
it's a
And
very sad book. It's not only the beginning, by the way.
it's not a
wow.
cozy, happy ending, chill, light book. Yeah, it's intense for so many reasons. But what I wanted to say is also, since the men die, they're the ones who go fishing. Like women are not allowed on a boat. I mean, obviously, if they need to go from point A to point B, they can go on a boat. But what I mean is they're not allowed to fish. And so when the men die, they're left with like no resource. And so at some point they're like, well, maybe we should go fishing because we're gonna die if we don't. And I think it's like the storm happens on Christmas Eve, so you can imagine it's like winter time. So if you don't go fishing, if you don't go like have food, you can just like literally like die. So that's what they do. And that's, I think, the fact that the group of women they go fishing is like the starting point of the whole women are too independent, and like the priest decides to write to a government official, and I think that's how, at least that's how I perceived it. That's the
They
tipping point
need a
for like
reason. Because these women like cool, like they teach themselves like everything, and they could be independent. And the priests thought, oh, these women are like getting too much power. So yeah, that was the reason why he wrote, and then they Absalom like come from Scotland because
it's
they
like
had to find a reason to stop them, basically.
that's a good point. It's because they saw that they could survive without men, which is a truth that we all know today. We can survive without men. But what I liked, because you said there were a lot of characters, and I agree with you. I think at the beginning, maybe it's the way it's written, or just the fact that they're names that I'm not used to because they're Norwegian names. But I was a bit confused, so I even like tried to like write some of the names, like have like a family tree, because you mentioned that the story is like the two main characters are Maren and Ursa, and what happens is some chapters are from Ursa's point of view and some others from Maren's point of view, and we start with Maren, obviously. And what was I going with this? I think, I think, I think what I wanted to say is there are some characters that I really liked. One of them, her name is Kirsten. Kirsten. And she's a very tough, strong, independent woman. So just like the other women from the village, her husband dies. And I think she's a bit older. Probably, so Marion is like 20 years old. And I think Kirsten is maybe more like, she would be like more of her mom's age, Marion's mom. So maybe like 40, 50, something like that. And I don't know, I really liked her. I like that we had her character because she has some very funny and sassy lines that she would say. Like, for example, on the whole food thing, I think they're discussing this, like the fact that they would like have a group of women go fishing, and they're like, oh, but the priest is not gonna, like, he doesn't approve of women going fishing. And she's like, yeah, well, I'm not gonna hear him during mass because my stomach is gonna make a lot of sound because I'm gonna be hungry, so he can say whatever he wants. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's funny. I like that. And I don't know how anachronistic this is, like how if we should consider that no women at that time would think like that, but I don't really care about that. I think some of the fallouts or flaws of this book are not, for me, they're not the fact that, some women are
It's funny
strong.
you're mentioning Kirsten, because before we started recording, I told you, like, I was thinking about Kirsten, but calling her like by another name, because all these characters like, I was confused. I found this book very hard to follow, like the storyline, because all these characters have different stories and they lost different persons, some husband, a son. Like, we talk about grief, about survival, about many different subjects. But yeah, I was just confused because from one chapter to the other, I'm like, who's that person? Oh, I have to remember the loss or the backstory and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't really feel, normally when I read a novel, I like the characters. Like, I can feel, I relate to some characters, like I can feel like a closeness. But I wasn't able, like, to feel the same thing here because of this diversity of characters. I just got lost.
I get that. I don't know. I think you told me that you struggled to finish. I think for me, even though I did not fully like the book, I still wanted to know what was going to happen next. So I think I felt still like drawn to it. I would say that like it I don't know, that there was this force attracting me to like want to know the next thing that was going to happen. And I think my disappointment comes from the fact that the ending is pretty
not satisfying at all. You wanted to know what happens.
No,
well, we don't know.
for me, it's not that. I don't mind that. I just mind the fact that the ending is very predictable, like the outcome. And you know what I said about the three parts, like the storm, the arrival of this witch hunter, and then the hunt. And it's like the fact that it ends with like a witch hunt, that was predictable. Like witch hunt and then women being burnt because they're considered witches. Like I could have predicted that. And so I think to me, that's what, and if people listening want to read the book, and there are a lot of good reviews out there, so it means that it's not because we didn't really vibe with the book that it's not a good book, like for other people. And it's just that to me, it was so predictable. And also what I think is if I had read it when I was younger, maybe I would have liked it. And I think that's why for me, it was important to know the author's background, because maybe if I had been a teenager reading this, then it would have sounded more new somehow. Or it's just like, I liked the writing, but sometimes she's like really spilling out things for us. For example, I think it's at the beginning towards like between like maybe the first and like 10th chapter. I don't know. We have some chapters, or like, they're not really chapters, but between chapters, we have letters between Absalom and the government official that is in charge of the region. And it's like, we don't really need those letters to understand that there's this patriarchal Christian like system that's gonna you know, does that make sense what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah,
those
but
letters
I
are not
think
useful.
maybe, and you're right, it's because we already know, but we think we don't need those references. But I think if you don't know anything about this period or even about the witch hunts and everything that happened like in the centuries, being in Norway or in the US, because we know a little bit more
Yeah.
about the US and everything. But yeah, maybe it's useful if it's your first book,
Yeah.
like feminist book or book about women and matriarchy and everything. So it might be useful for some people.
Also, good word that you just used here, matriarchy. Okay. One reason that why I was disappointed is I was expecting a book with strong women, an actual matriarchal society, and I did not get it because I think it's in the summary of the book, or maybe like on the book itself, like the summary that they're making, they're alluding the fact that these women created this society without men, and that's why they're gonna be hunted like witches. But we don't even get that. I'm like, most of the women, village women, they're conservatives. Like they are part of the witch hunt. So I was expecting to get a sort of female rage, not female rage, but female, like, I don't know, strong women, and I did not get it. So good word that you just used, because I thought I was going to get that and I did not get it. So
I think maybe something I liked or found interesting, at least, the evolution of Ursa. Once again, I don't know if I'm mispronouncing. Anyway, because when we start the book, she's kind of passive. She's an observer. And because of a relationship with Marin, and she's more aware of like her husband and what she goes through, because it's not easy at all, her relationships. She becomes like a resistor too, in a way. So I found the evolution of Ursa interesting. So maybe that's something I can say, oh, I like that.
okay, that's nice. She's a good character. I liked her. What did you think of the imagery of the whale? Because that's actually something that I liked at the beginning. Okay, you didn't like it. Okay. 'Cause at the beginning, I did like that. And again, that was very anticlimactic for me, because I was expecting a big reveal when it came to the whale and the symbolism of it. Okay, I'm gonna explain more for people who haven't read the book, but I think it's really from the start, maybe even like the first chapter, we have Marin dreaming and thinking of she's seeing this big whale, and like the connection of the whale with the whole storm. Like basically the author is making a connection between those two. And so I was like, okay, maybe there's something there. Either, to me, there were two options. Either like, I guess like an actual whale, because that would make sense in this region. Second option is something witchy, like something witchy is gonna happen, and she has a connection with that. And nope, we don't get that. Like,
Yeah, that's funny because at first I thought the same thing. I thought the whale was like maybe Marin was linked to the whale,
yeah,
and
me
the
too.
whale was magic, and Marin was a real witch. But then after a few times of like seeing the whale, like reading about the whale, I was like, I just don't understand. I don't vibe with that. Like, if it's not magical, why is she dreaming about a whale and seeing
I
a
know.
whale? I don't understand. What's the symbol behind? And I'm not good with like symbolism and magical realism and everything. So I was like, no, I'm not vibing at all. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I had another like hope when we get introduced to Dina. She was married to Marin's brother. Anyway, and she's Sami. So what you said about indigenous tribes that are from the region and have been stigmatized by other populations from other places anyway. And so I thought we might have something magical there, because since they are still connected to their pagan practices, I thought maybe, the magical elements would come from there, and it didn't. So, but okay, I'm going to say something positive too, because there are things that I liked, especially even though it was not new themes, new to me. The fact that we see the relationship between religion beliefs, and the fact that because some people don't understand pagan rituals, because they don't understand them, then they think it's the devil is behind them. And I think it's said several times. I think even Dina says this to Maren, like, it's not because you don't understand it that it's evil. It's just that, we're using runes, they're using some figurines, like some, or even, what do you call them? I don't remember the name. Anyway, some artifacts for their pagan rituals, and they're not doing anything wrong. Like, they're not asking the devil to, like, kill people. It's just like connection to wind, connection to the elements, and it's interesting, this idea of, because you don't understand something, you think it's bad,
It was the reason, like at that time. Well, we can argue even now what you don't understand is seen as a threat, but at that time, like, it was the reason for like every war, every like persecution.
Yeah.
Like, if someone like didn't understand his neighbor, oh, let's go have a duel.
Yeah, and
because they thought they were dangerous, they were evil. So
and
at that time, you have to be super careful.
I think it's at the end or during the trial that the government official, the Lord Cunningham, he says that he knows the sea, and such a storm could not have happened if it weren't created by witchcraft. And you're like, dude, you're so dumb, but I guess you're from the 17th century, so you don't know the sea and how it works and how storms are created. And it's just, they're blind to the how nature works, and so that's why they blame it on witchcraft and women. But yeah, so that's one thing that I liked. This.
What did you think about the ending?
Okay, my interpretation of the ending. Okay, so I thought she was, because of this whole whale imagery, like the sea calling out to her. I thought Maren was going to jump into the water and die, or not die. We don't know, but mystic ending. So I thought that's what she was going to do. Like, basically, like 2 pages before the actual ending, the way it was written, I was like, okay, she's going to jump, and she doesn't, obviously. And so my interpretation is she just leaves the village, like she goes away. I don't know if that's how you read it.
What I thought, but I don't know. Like, I really don't know if I'm right or wrong, but my interpretation is it's like a symbolic death. Like, I don't think she's living. I think she died, and it's a way of narrating her death. I don't know.
But how does she die then?
I don't know.
She jumped in the water. Okay. Okay. No, I agree with you, because she, at the end, she takes Ursa's dress and she puts it on, and it's kind of like,
that's why,
becoming this or like severance with her past life. No, not past life, like her life as Maren, basically.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it's
But I was
a beautiful
disappointed.
way to say she died. Maybe.
I was disappointed because I understand you can leave an ending to interpretation, but not that interpretation. I mean, it's just, it sounded so rushed too. So I was expecting more substance.
I think, yeah, I think the third part of the book goes really fast compared to the beginning that's really slow.
Yeah.
So maybe that's how you felt. I don't know. I'm okay with the open ending. I'm okay with that. I'm just, I don't know. But it's see, we have different interpretations, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with
That's
that.
cool.
That's cool. But yeah. So I don't know if you agree that you would have liked it better if you had been younger,
I
or
don't
not
even
at
know.
all.
I think it's just not my style. It's too lyrical for me.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. Like a novel and a book is both like a story, like a plot,
Mm.
and also the writing itself. And
Yeah.
sometimes you can love the plot and hate the writing, or
Mm.
vice versa. So I think I liked the writing, just not the plot. I think for me that was it. That's why I gave it. So coming to our rating, actual rating in numbers, I gave it 3 stars, which is not such a bad review for me. But I'm generous. I'm a nice
Yeah, I
person
know.
when it
You
comes
don't
to
like giving bad
reviewing.
ratings.
No, sometimes I have to be really pissed off to give like a 1 star. I have in the past, but I have to be pissed off.
For me, it's a 2. And why it's not a 1?
Wow.
My like reasoning is because the story is original. Like setting your book in 7th century Norway, having to think about all these characters,
Yeah.
because even if I didn't like it, it's smart. Like it's a really smart book, and now that I know she used to write poetry, I understand her lyricism, and
Yeah.
I can appreciate the writing, but not for a novel. But
Yeah,
I
I
can
think
appreciate a challenge.
yeah, I think it could have been a really beautiful and long poem.
Yeah.
The story could have been like, like an epic poem.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like
I had in mind.
could have been. I agree with you. Like and that's why I didn't
With the whale and everything.
exactly. That's why I didn't like the plot. It's like too basic, too for me, for me. And so, but yeah, I'm still happy that I read it because, as I said, it has been in my books to read for so long, like a pile. So I'm like, at least now I know. Uh, but we have actually thought about books that are related to the theme, and I have 2 amazing books to recommend related to the Mercies. The first one I actually read some time ago. So in English, the title is In Defense of Witches, The Legacy of the Witch Hunts and Why Women Are Still on Trial. She's a French author, Mona Chollet. She wrote this book. In French, it's just called Witches. I think there's a subtitle, but it's Witches, like sorcière. Have you read it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a nonfiction. It's her argument in this book is that the image of the witch was once used to persecute women, as we saw with like witch hunts and so on. And so her argument is to say that today it still shapes how in our society we view independent and conforming women. And what I really liked about this book when I read it at that time, like a few years back, is the whole theme of pop culture nowadays, like women reclaiming this cultural affiliation, or
Yeah.
you know, reclaiming this image of the witch that used to be like, oh, women who know too much, too independent, like we're gonna burn them. And nowadays being like, yeah, I'm a witch, whatever, like reclaiming this image. And so that's what I really liked. I'm not gonna say that the book is perfect. I think to me it was slightly like some themes were a bit repetitive in the book. I actually read other books from her, and I think that's the way she writes her books and structures them. But it's still a must read, I think. There are examples not only about France, so that's why it was translated, I think, in English. And so I really liked it. And on my journey as a feminist, it was a good read. So yeah, that's the first one. And the second one is a novel. It's actually a trilogy. And so the first book of the trilogy is called The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. She's an American author. I absolutely
The
love her.
best for you.
Yeah. She's
She's
one
great. She's great.
she's one of actually recently she announced that she is releasing a new book next June.
Oh,
I'm here for it. And she's the kind of author that I would read anything from her. And so The Bear and the Nightingale is literally one of my favorite books ever. Like the series, it's 3 books. It moved me so much. It's a perfect book. I don't know if I'm ever going to read it again because it lives in me somehow. So
why we knew 10 stars.
yeah, it's, and why I'm talking about it, because there is a link. So just like the Mercies, it's it doesn't happen in Norway, but it happens in Russia, in like northern Russia, and I don't remember exactly the time period because I don't think it's that important because it's actually a fantasy book. So the relationship with actual historical facts is less important. Like there are references, but it's not the same. And so we have Russian folklore, just like for the Mercies with the Sami and the pagan traditions and rituals. And we have, unlike the Mercies, we have a very strong female character, Vasya, and she's great. It's the biggest connection with the Mercies is obviously the theme, just like I said, the pagan rituals and the fact that the church is trying to kill or to impose Christianity as the main source of what should we call it? Belief, main source of, I don't know, or like no longer have people, leaving out some food for the house spirits and so on. And what I really liked about it is it's epic. They're beautiful characters. There's a love story for people interested, in that.
Yeah, we need a love story. We
Um,
always need a love story.
we do, and it's beautifully written. Oh my god! And so yeah, we have politics, religion, witchcraft with actual magic happening. So for people who want that,
Everything I like.
it's great. So anyway, The Bear and the Nightingale, I could not recommend it enough. Like really, I recently a friend of mine read it. I was so happy. She loved it.
Okay, gonna read it next. Makes you happy.
Please do. It's great also for like cozy days and
Oh
winter
yeah,
time.
it's
And
what I
so
like.
like we're starting to be in that phase of like, this is the perfect read for that period. If you don't like it, I'm going to be fine with it. But if you read it and love it, then, oh my God.
Speaking of cozy, my recommendations are cozy books because I love a cozy book, especially with my pumpkin spice latte in October and November.
Yeah.
So I recently discovered this Indian British author, Sangu Mandana, and she wrote 2 books. So the first one is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and the second is a witch's guide to magical innkeeping, and very standalone. You don't have to read the first to read the second one. I really like the first one, but my favorite is the second one. I finished it last week, and it's set. Both books are set in like the countryside in the UK, and yeah, witches, and there's a love story, of course, and it's just cozy, and you have all these traditional British characters. So the old auntie and or the old grandma, and they share a meal, and you've got the neighbor, the eccentric neighbor, and the sorcerer, and who's the lord.
Wait, I have a question. Is it a story where people know that magic exists?
Some people, yes. So they have the British, I don't even know, the British witchcraft society or witchcraft guild, and so very legion, but like so many people know about witchcraft, and it's like beautiful magic. It's light and like very good people. So it's
Nice.
just cozy and witchy, and yeah, very like faith challenges, of course, because we need the plot. But yeah, that's my recommendation if you're looking for coziness.
Nice. It's good because we have very different recommendations here.
Yeah,
3
non-fiction, fantasy, cozy, witchcraft.
perfect.
Best of all those worlds.
Exactly. Nice. All
Okay.
right. I think it's the first. We're ending this episode with the very first book that we didn't like.
Yeah.
That we covered.
Yeah, because last time I remember we tried to read a book, but it was so bad. We said, "Oh, let's find a new book for this episode."
It's true that we actually changed for one
Yeah.
episode when we read The Giver, and the initial book was Legends and Lattes. That's true. This time we stuck with it. It's good. We stuck with the. I hope you're not that you're okay with it again.
I'm okay because of the good ratings. I wanted to like the book, so that's why I kept going.
That makes
But
sense.
no, I assume my position.
All right. Well, thanks for the chat, and I'm excited for a cozy read for this afternoon. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it's well, it's tonight for me, but I can read a cozy book in my bed.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
That's it for this chapter of Book Nook. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Book Nook the Podcast for more bookish fun, and we'll see you next time. Until then, happy reading!